Hey, Rebel Bankers, this is your host, Chris Noggle and JDew,
What's
and
up?
we are here for an unbelievable episode of the Real Estate Money School. So you guys are going to be blown away with this one because my guest right here has some serious things to tell you and a great story to boot. But before we get into the story, I want to talk a little bit about yourself, as always, and on your journey to becoming a Rebel Banker. That journey always starts the exact same place, and that place is you getting started. You taking the first step to the success, and now that first step can be simple. It can be a copy of my book, right? Grab a copy of the book and read it and take action on what you learn. But what we're going to do today, we're going to give you some serious golden nuggets that you can take action on immediately. So you don't even need to just jump in and do anything. Just listen, sit back, and learn. So, JDew, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Chris. Happy to be here right here in your studio and everything. Love being here in Buffalo, New York. My first time visiting. So thanks for having me here.
And the good news is there's no blizzard on this trip.
Praise God, because I come from South Carolina where it's a little bit warmer. You know what I'm saying? So having a great time. Just a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. So, when they were coming out, and just like every other guest we have come out, they're always thinking it's going to be a blizzard and there's going to be 10 feet of snow on the ground. And you know what? Normally we do not disappoint, but we disappointed this time. So we made sure that they got buffalo wings so that they went back home and they could say, you know what? We did the best thing we could have while we were in Buffalo, and that was have buffalo wings.
There we go. But now there are piles of snow 10 feet high in several parking lots around here and off to the side. We got these like snow drifts. I guess you guys pile it up.
Man, we don't count those.
No, you don't count those? Oh man. These are mountains. These are like the Alps where I live. Yeah. I was like, look at that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the Matterhorn, but okay. All right.
No, here in Buffalo, those don't even count. We don't even see them. They're just they're like potholes. You don't see the potholes, but most of our potholes will swallow your car. So we're going to talk about some interesting things. We're going to talk about banking, but what I want to start with, guys, is I want to start with JDew's story, and his story is incredible. I want to talk about how he got started, what led him down this path to where he's at, and then you guys are going to learn a lot more about what he does today and how that's impacted not only his life, but thousands of other people's lives. So tell him how you got here.
Yeah, well, about 5.5 years ago or so was the first time that I saw a presentation about banking, about that idea that you could become your own banker, and I was very confused at what was going on. I had a mentor friend of mine. If you don't have mentors out there, you need them, right? And I had a mentor friend of mine ask me about, hey, we need to know more about, because he had mentors, we need to know more about fractional banking. That's how he kind of mentioned at the beginning. He was a little confused about what was going on, and there's a lot of information out there that may confuse you. You may be kind of wandering in that world wide web of, of that stuff that doesn't really make total sense either. And so I started to research, and for me, that started out being YouTube, Chris. I was trying to figure out what was going on and learn these terms and understand what was going on. I was entrepreneurial, and I wanted to know more. I understood that people were making this crazy compounding effect on their money, but I hadn't seen a presentation. I hadn't had somebody break it down for me very simply, like you do, of course, in your online events, as well as what you're doing on Wednesdays, what you're doing in terms of folks in front of the room and seminars. And I hadn't seen that yet. So when I finally got to that place and got kind of like the Bible, the Holy Grail, Nelson Nash's book, of becoming your own banker, I was lost. I didn't know what was going on.
That book's a lot like this.
Yes, exactly. That was it.
Goes off.
That was it. So that was, probably 2015. When I first saw that information, and when I really understood what was going on. I think several of you out there are probably aware of my brother, JDew. Maybe you've seen him already on the show as well. He and I went to a presentation with one of our best friends and mentors now, Brent Kessler. Maybe some of you know of Brent Kessler, and we've done events together with him.
And he's been on the podcast.
Oh, too. Love it. Yes, of course. Right. So when we all met Brent, that light bulb, hit it again. Come on now, let the people know. There it is.
But then, hold on.
Yes, there we go. It went off just like that in my brain. So we got started around that time in 2016. Early 2016 was our first policies that were banking policies, performing, set up correctly, performing the right way for our financial future, and that changed everything.
That changed. So tell them a little bit, like, what did that change for you? Like, what were your struggles? Like, what was your life like before you found this? And, once you learned this, I mean, I don't know, were you like, this looks too good to be true, or did the light bulb just go off instantly?
Well, it was, it's nature nurture. A little bit was right away, and some of it was you had to learn over time. So it was a little bit of the both. So let me tell you about how my life was going at that time. Like many of you out there, doing things in real estate, doing things in investing, doing things in maybe a qualified plans at your job, whatever those things were.
Those things.
Yes, all those things. Is I was trying to figure out what was right, what was correct, what was true, what was simple. And my route became entrepreneurism. And originally, actually, I got pretty prolific in recruiting marketers and customers in a network marketing company. And I said, residual income, I got to go for that, right? I got to go for residual income. So I wasn't kind of investing per se. I wasn't doing real estate specifically, but I was in this crazy rat race, because when you're a business owner, no matter what you're doing, in so many cases, the expenses go up, the taxes go up, all those things go up at the same time that you might be doing better financially. You might have more income, but you're still trying to figure out, like, how do I actually get ahead? And for many of you out there, you're still trying to figure out, well, I might be making more money. A lot of you who know Chris and are working with him or understand what he's up to, you're making more money and doing more deals, but maybe you're not any less stressed. Maybe you're not secure in what those last deals were, because they might fall through at any given time, or you're always looking for another deal. So when I saw this information, what the light bulb was for me was realizing, no matter what, I'm always going to win. No matter what.
That's crazy. Did you guys hear that? No matter what, I'm going to win. Like, how often can you say that, right? If you're investing in Wall Street, in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, can you say that? No matter what, I'm going to win. No, you're kind of like, boy, I hope I win. Boy, I hope that goes good. Just like last week, I don't know, when you see this, but last week we had the 2 worst days in the market since 2008. Wow. And I bet you people were saying, boy, I hope this doesn't keep going down. Right. But in this case, he knew, and that's a powerful thing, just knowing that something's just going to work, because it always does and it always has. There's so much power to that.
Yes, that's exactly right, man. So when I saw Brent Kessler originally do a presentation, as well as one of his mentors do something online, the light bulb clicked. And I said, this is how I said, different from what we do now and how we help thousands of people, is I said, man, what do I have to try to convince these guys of that I'm worthy of them working with me? That's what I thought. I really thought that, man, I'm really going to have to prove to these guys, I might have to show financial statements I don't have. I might have to tell them I have money I don't have, because I really thought this is too good for someone like me. Someone like me, because of whatever it is, the background that I have, my family, the color of my skin, whatever those things might be, man, people like me don't get access to information like this. And so I really was worried that I wouldn't be qualified to get started.
That's interesting. And I got to take a second and just talk about that. I mean, how many people actually do you think that way?
Man, I only assume that I represent a portion of the population. Yeah. So there's got to be some other people out there like me said, man, I'm working hard. I got a young family. I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm not doing as well as I want to. And you think you have to overinflate how well you're doing. And I didn't realize that banking was for everyone. I didn't realize it was for people like me because of whatever situation I had on my list and my limiting beliefs. But this process, what I realized and why I fell in love with it, other than the guarantees and the uninterrupted compounding growth, was it's for everyone, no matter where you are.
That's just crazy to think that some people actually don't get to see this because they think that they don't qualify,
right? Or
they think, oh, I'm not there yet, or I need to do this, or I need to do that before I'm going to be able to do this. And that's not the case. But, it's kind of funny, once you learn more about the banking system we're talking about and the banking functions, you'll learn that this has been around for hundreds of years, hundreds of years. It's been right under our nose, being used all around us, called different things, but all around us. And every single time when I heard about it as an advisor, it was usually referred to as privatized banking. And I'm like, oh, that's the big guys.
Exactly.
Right? That's the big guys.
That's a Series 7 guys. That's the $1 million guys.
I was Series 7, but I was still thinking that's those guys with millions of dollars.
Yes. And you were thinking it was maybe out of your league.
And I was an advisor.
Right. And I was thinking, no, this is for people who have real money. And what I realized was no matter where you are, the banking process is for everyone wherever you are. If you understand what the banking process is, and you understand how we and how you teach that basic process through one specific tool, it changes everything, and it's for everybody.
And the other thing too is so many people have been taught, and me too. I mean, I was brought up thinking to get ahead in life, to make more money, I had to work harder, I had to work longer, or I had to take on more risk and just roll the dice and hope it worked out. And that was how I was going to get ahead. And what I didn't realize is actually building wealth can be done many ways, but the easiest way is just to learn how to take back control of your money. Just learn how to take back the money you're giving away, because we're all spending money. Everybody's the same in one sense, is we all are giving other people our money because we make it. It comes in one source or the other, and that money's going back out. About 90% of every dollar we make is going back out the door. Wouldn't it be just much easier just to find a method to take back the money that we're giving away and to build wealth that way? Because it'd be a lot easier.
Well, but yes, it would. But nobody really understands that rule number one that you talk about when I've seen you do presentations live on stage. And what we talk about in our platform, our video platform and library and our teaching tools, the Cash Compound, is rule number one is pay yourself first. We've heard it. We've read it. We've watched videos on it. We've been to big seminars that charge big dollars, and we still don't understand that before you pay those guys, before you give your money up, before you let somebody else manage it and take on risk, you have to pay yourself first. And I love that's what you teach and what we like to help people understand.
Once I learned this, I realized that there was no complex algorithm. There was no complex structure like in stocks. We always had these algorithms. We had support and resistance lines. You had to know so much to do that. And even when you knew so much, you were still wrong more than you were right. That's the only way I can put it. I mean, it was great that we had all this knowledge and we had all these great fancy computer programs, but they did us no good. We're here basically to do what we do with banking. And for you to start banking, all you need to do is change one thing. One thing different, and everybody can change one thing. But the hardest part is so many people say that they say, oh, I can change one thing, piece of cake. But then when they actually get into it, they start believing what everybody else is telling them. They start believing the misconception and start thinking, oh, this is too good to be true. Right. Just like Will Rogers says, right? And I say this a lot and I feel like a broken record, but everybody needs to hear this. They'd say the problem in America is not what people don't know. The problem is what people think they know that just ain't so. Will Rogers said it perfect. I mean, and so many people believe in that. They believe the people that think they know what they don't know, because that's the only advice they get, which is sad, but that's the truth.
And I agree with you. So there's some folks out there that are maybe financial entertainers in the world. I was a big Dave Ramsey guy. Most people have heard of him now on his platforms with radio, his books. I love that dude. I've seen him on stage a couple of times. I've met him, taken a picture, gotten his autograph, read all of his books, and got out of debt prior to seeing
all of his books.
At that time, yes. There's 5 books at the time where I was a big fan getting out of college before I was married. And I read all of them. Every single last one. And what I would get lost on is once I got out of debt, well, what next? How do I get ahead, especially as an entrepreneur? And I just didn't know. I don't feel like I have control over my growth. I only had control over my habits of spending. And now because of this, I have control over the growth. And that growth is guaranteed, because every night when you and I go to bed, isn't it a beautiful feeling to know that we have more cash and cash value the next morning? Every day. No matter what. And it doesn't matter. And I have to do something crazy or really stupid to actually lose that value and growth. It's impossible. Based on what I know. So those things kind of kept me, and I thought that those were the only options. I thought that, well, if I don't get into debt, but I wasn't playing an offensive game, I was playing a defensive game. And now my money plays an offensive game every day, with or without my help.
Man, that's an awesome way to look at it. I never really looked at it like that. I mean, because really that's what it is. And, the other day, and you got to tell the audience this, the other day you mentioned something about a vending machine. Can you tell them the vending machine? Because if this doesn't resonate in your mind, then I don't think we can help you. And I don't think banking is going to help you, because this is that one thing that literally tells it exactly how it is in the simplest way. All
right. So I'm talking to you guys, you rebel bankers out there. And sometimes when Chris does a seminar or a mastermind meeting or money school, whatever those things are, I might be even one of the people that call you up and say, hey, I heard you met my buddy Chris, and I want you to help him. He told me to call you, and I want to break this down for you in a simple way. You may have saw a couple of concepts in an hour plus that you don't quite get, but I want you to think about this one thing. So here it is. Here it is, everybody. Rebel bankers, if you put $1 in the vending machine and that dollar was guaranteed in that vending machine to kick out a soda for you, right? Now I'm up here in Buffalo. Is it soda? Is it pop? Is it okay?
We go by both.
Okay, just making sure. All right. So that dollar was going to kick out a soda for you, whatever you like, whatever flavor, but the dollar was going to come back out of the machine, guaranteed.
I would think something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what if it was a guaranteed? The machine did it every time for anyone who did that, whoever put the dollar in. So my question is, would you be more excited about the soda, the pop, whatever it is, the Coke, depending where you are, right? Would you be more excited about the dollar or more excited about the Coke when they came out? Which would you be more excited about?
I'd be more excited about the dollar.
The dollar came back out. Now, the soda is great. The pop is great. You want to utilize that in some way. But if it was guaranteed to do that every time, would you put the dollar back in?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd put the dollar back in. So here's the thing about what we know and what you teach specifically. I love your stuff. Is if you put the dollar in, every time you do it, it's guaranteed to kick out $1 plus change. And every time you put the dollar in, it kicks out more change than it did the last time. And it's guaranteed in writing in a contract that it does it every time.
Man, we'd have a line out the door to get access to this vending machine.
100%. And so what's great about what we know now and what we help other people, thousands of people all over the country and beyond, understand is that that's what we have in the platform that was built long before you and I were even born.
Way longer.
There. It's there. It's not some sort of newfangled product. It's not some sort of trick. It's not some sort of loophole in the IRS tax system. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is.
I always tell people it's boring. Literally, at the core of what we do with banking systems, it's very boring. I mean, it's really, there's nothing.
It's very simple. I told you, I go to sleep and wake up the next morning. Yeah. I didn't learn anything. I didn't get any smarter. Last night I was watching The Office for the 15th time. That's all I was doing, So that's what we have right here. So the next question that I ask is very important, Chris. And I know that you've heard me do this on the phone with people, or you've told you that this is how the process goes down, is you put that dollar in, it's going to kick you out of soda. It's also going to kick out that dollar plus change. It's going to get bigger every time you do it. Mm-hmm. So what percentage of the dollars that you've got in your wallet do you want to put into that machine?
I mean, me?
Yeah.
Every penny that I could.
100%.
Well, see, I didn't even know that was the right answer. I was just like, I'd want to put every penny I can put back into 100%. That thing.
And so many folks, when they understand what we do and what we help them do at the Cash Compound, with you, with your team, all over the world, what we're helping people do in this country, is that in the beginning, we might start simple and small. And that's where I was.
Yeah.
I didn't have everything. I wasn't doing everything right in business, but I knew one thing, and that one thing changed it all. And now more and more and more percentage of my dollars in income go into this product and process to make sure that I put my dollars in. I have to spend money. I have children. I've got 3 kids now, and I know you've got one on the way. Congratulations. But I've got to make sure I put that money in, because no matter what, it's guaranteed to come out bigger.
Yeah. And there's so many stories that I could tell, and I'm not going to, in the sake of time, about how this system, when I first saw it, I thought, no way, that's real. I was an advisor when I first saw this, and I thought I knew all about this. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. That's not the way I was taught. I've never heard this. And then the guy kept saying to me, he kept saying, well, I don't know, Chris, I didn't come up with this and I'm using it. So it's working just like I told you. So call this guy Brent.
Right,
you know
right,
that guy.
right.
Call this guy Brent. So of course me, and I had a bit of an ego, I'm not going to lie, because like I was the big Mr. Advisor, one of the top guys in the firm. And I called Brent up and I'm like, so I met Mike and he told me about this thing and it's this thing. And I kept going into it. And Brent's like, well, it sounds like you know a lot about it, but have you watched my video? And I'm like, no, I don't need the video. I know what this is. And you just got to explain, how does this work? Stop.
Right.
He said, well, with all due respect, I'm sure you know a lot about this, but you don't know how this works. So please watch the video and then set up a time with me. And I'm like, I'm getting brushed off.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. I'm like, I'm getting brushed off. And I'm like, fine. How long's the video? He said, it's an hour and a half. And I said, man, I don't have an hour and a half.
Exactly.
He's like, well, you know, if this sounded intriguing, you should watch the video and then we can talk. And I'm like, man.
Right.
Sunday comes, I walk myself down in that basement with my big mug of coffee, thinking this is going to be grueling. This is going to be hard. I sat down, I turn the computer on, and I start playing the video. An hour and a half goes by. I had not taken one sip of coffee, but what I did have is 4 pages of notes, and I was pissed. I was so mad.
Yes.
I was so mad because I'd never been shown this. And what I saw in that video completely transformed my entire thinking about what I knew about money. And it made me feel this big because I realized that everything I thought I knew was nothing at all in the grand scheme of things of what money really did and how money really worked. And at that point, I flew my wife and myself to Mexico to watch Brent speak because, if the video was that good,
right,
I got to see this guy in person.
100%.
So I was in Mexico and I saw this guy 3 days. I watched him completely explain this concept, and that's where it all began. And I started small too.
Yeah.
When I did this,
so many people.
I had a lot of debt.
Yeah.
A lot of debt. I was buried in debt, and I didn't have a ton of disposable money. So I started really small. And I was probably kind of embarrassed when I told him because, I'm supposed to be
and
the
so
big
many
investor.
people are, and you've got to realize that's okay. And that's where we started, and we're helping people do it all the time. Yeah.
It was humbling, but you know what? I got started, and then literally within a year, I had my next one, and it's just one after the other. I'm up to 6 now, and
as am I. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I have 6 different, banking systems that work in my favor no matter what happens. And so it's not about how big you start. Mm-hmm. It's about starting and then seeing it through.
And a lot of people probably don't understand, well, why wouldn't you just have one? Why do you have 6? So
good question.
Do you want to explain that?
I will. So first off, I'll say this. Let's relate it to something that you think about all the time. Your favorite branch of your favorite conventional bank right now. It might be a Wells, a TD, or something like that, Bank of America. Now, do they have one branch or do they have 1,000?
1,000.
They have 1,000 because they can do more. Now, the primary function of a bank, how does a bank make money? What do they do? To make dollars.
Money.
They move money. They lend money. And they're able to do that more often in more places because they have more branches. What now? Take all those words and just transfer them to yourself. Because you have more branches, you're going to be able to move more money, do more lending, but you are the borrower and the lender, but the bank makes the profit. Well, you own the bank, my friend. So that's what changes everything.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, a lot of people don't understand. And so that's why I break it down with that dollar we're putting in the vending machine. If you could put $1 in and get $1 back plus, well, how many of your dollars would you put in? Well, you'd probably want to put in more and more of your dollars. So that's why we're starting branches after branches after branches, and we're helping everybody like you do the exact same thing.
Right, because there are rules, and we can't just put all those dollars into one branch office. We have to have multiple branch offices to fit the rules. I mean, and I'm not going to get into that, but just understand that this is not something that just anyone can do. This is so specialized, and what we do and what JDew and his brother do is so specialized. There's just not a lot of people doing this. There's a lot of people maybe out there saying they're doing this. I don't even want to get started, but if you get into it, you'll see there's a whole bunch of, what do we call them? Snake oil salesmen out there saying they know something that they don't know. And remember, they think they know what they don't know because they saw one YouTube video and they're like, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
And they don't.
And God loves these people. However, we don't that much because we have to unravel
Right.
some of their systems for folks who realize over in a short period or a long period, hey, I need someone else to explain these complicated contracts and paperwork that I have. And look, we can break it down. As my brother has said on one of the episodes that you guys have done here, we break it down for you in 1 or 2 or 3 tools. And you don't have to know everything. You need to know what's guaranteed.
Right.
That's what you need to know. Is it guaranteed? And is it guaranteed to grow? That's what you need to know.
Yeah. And earlier, you said something about Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey is very well known in this space, and he's very well known at helping people get out of debt. But after you're out of debt, then what? Like, and what if there was a faster way to even get out of debt? These are the things that they do in the cash compound. And, just in the sake of time, can we just jump right to the cash compound?
Sure.
Tell my audience exactly what you've created, because it's literally something that, so at first when I saw cash compound, I was like, this is incredible. And I already knew what I was doing with the banking. So this was all just kind of common ground for me. But when I saw it, the way that they did it, the way they explained it, their trainings were so simple. And I didn't even realize it. I said, this is really good stuff. But you know who did? Shauna, my director of operations, saw their videos and instantly got it. Now, Shauna has seen me do this presentation 20, 30 times. I would have thought she would have got it, which she did. But when she saw their trainings at the cash compound, she got it on a whole different level. And at that point, that's when I realized, wow, maybe there's a completely different way of explaining this in a more relatable system, in a more relatable process. And you guys created the steps, and you guys created the process that walks people through step by step by step on exactly how to use this.
Yes, very much so. So the cash compound, what the cash compound is a video library that's an education system to help you bite-sized chunks, one step at a time, understand what is going on. Because we know, a lot of people out there, we know why we want to do all this. We want to get out of debt. We want to make more money. But you're not sure what is happening because of the process of banking, and you don't realize you don't know what the process of banking is. A bank is not just a place on the corner. That is in a conventional sense, but it's a process, and you can practice it. You can take control of it and become the banker. And when you are the banker, you are going to make all sorts of profits because you're not leaving money on the table. You're not losing it to third-party financiers. And what we help people know is in 2, 3, 4-minute video forms is what's going on. Very simple. So that's why we created the Cash Compound. And we're loving that we're teaming up with you now to help all you guys out there who are, your bankers out there who are
all my rebel bankers right here.
We're going to help you guys do the same thing here. And, when you get started with Chris, what's the beautiful thing about the way we've partnered and the way we've tried to really structure what we've got going on is that you're not paying a bunch of extra money for this thing. They're bite-sized chunks. And when you get started with Chris, certain parts of our platform are included. And we have certain videos that you're going to get access to no matter what. So you understand the basics, the simple forms of what banking is, and now what you have control of in your life. And that's where it starts. So that's what the Cash Compound is. And there's several different tracks that people can, get on. I'm sure you've told them about that in different areas in different ways. And so we'll help you guys understand what those are. And it's literally my brother, if you've met him or seen him on this show, Jonah or me, Jeremiah or JDew, whichever one you know me as at the time, whatever alias I'm going by, we're walking you through these things 1, 2, 3 minutes at a time. You get access to our personal cell phones. We hit you back. We help you understand in your time and your space what's going on and help you reach your goals.
Yeah, it's like nothing you've ever seen, and you probably have seen a lot of these training platforms, but this one is just it's different. It's very different. It includes tools and, like they said, the one-on-one help. You can't get into banking, just jump right in. You're going to need a little bit of guidance on how to practice it and how to do it right. And that's what they do. Literally step by step. They've helped hundreds and hundreds of my clients get through this process. And really, I feel like I was doing a good job at it, but I'm sure I was missing pieces because sometimes I'm a little high level.
Right.
Where they basically bring it down for, like what I said about Shauna, they bring it down to this very simple level, and they put steps to every single thing they do. So, I know we talked before this, but everybody that's watching this, do you guys want to try this for free? Because they've got this thing called freemium that they want to give to you guys for free. So they came up with this, they knew that they were coming on the podcast and they wanted you all to just be able to check it out. So do you want to tell them how they can have access?
Sure, yes. So the crash course is what you want access to. So we'll drop some links here and help you understand that. We'll give you guys a link, just you guys, especially if you see him in person. We'll hook you up. And sometimes in the near future, we've done a deal here. We're going to be with you sometimes at some of your events as well. And so if you see us live, we'll give you access to this, or you find us in a special place like this with Rebel Bankers. We're going to drop this for you. We're going to give you a link, and we're going to give you access to the crash course where you can click on that and you can get started with some of these videos. So maybe you've begun the process with the team, or you're thinking, I just need to know more. I've maybe even seen the hour and a half long presentation, and I need to know more or get ready to get started or share it with a spouse or a business partner. We've got you covered so you can get access to us directly and get started with the process to make sure you know what you're doing and make sure you know what already existed before all of us got here. That's true.
Well before we all got here, because we didn't invent this. We're just literally another spoke in the wheel. That's all we are. This has been around long before we were even born. Heck, before our parents were born.
100%. It's about 200 years.
Were born.
200. Yeah, I'm trying to put the math together.
I'm doing the math. I'm like, yeah, that's.
So actually, this system is older than the IRS tax code, 1913, 1914. It's older than that, 200 years that this has been practiced by the most wealthy families in our country, as well as some of the biggest businesses. And what we did not know was that it was right under our nose for us to use personally this whole time.
Yeah, and Nelson Nash changed all that.
He did.
Which is incredible that it took that long for somebody to actually realize what this is and explain it in a way that changed. How many people's lives do you think he changed?
Well, not enough yet, and that's why we're out here. That's for
true.
sure.
That's
for
answer.
sure. There's so many folks who don't know about this or the power of it yet, but so far, I mean, it's nearing hundreds of thousands.
So what I'm going to do is, right up above or right below, there's going to be a link for you guys to check this out for free, the freemium crash course. And you can just go to thecashcompound.com/bankwithus.
Yes.
And you guys can get access to this for free. Check it out. And if you absolutely love it, well, then there's different programs you can do from there. And this will only accelerate what you're already doing if you're already banking. And if you're not banking, this will be perfect for you because it'll really put a lot of light on what we're talking about so that you're not sitting there being like, banking, I thought that was just walking in the bank. No, very different, but same process, just you doing it with your own bank. So other than that, like if people are really intrigued with you, how else can they find you? How else can they get
Sure, yeah, you can hit me up. I do a lot of speaking and different things like that. You're going to catch me at some of Chris's events over the course of 2020 and beyond. But you can hit me up on Facebook, JDew. So I kind of have some of the entrepreneurial efforts that I was doing prior to banking that I still get involved with now is through speaking and crowd hype and all that stuff that requires marketing, but not like this because it's true no matter what, right? So I can have a tendency to go overboard with my personality. So you can hit me up at It's JDew on Instagram, Twitter, at It's JDew, as well as JDew on Facebook and things like that. And you can sneak in and find us at the Cash Compound, of course. Message us directly and we'll help you get started with Chris and us as well.
Awesome. So this has been some really good golden nuggets. You guys are getting some great information, but you know what? Just like I said earlier, on your journey, you got to get started. So earlier I was talking about reading books and doing things. Well, now you got something else to get started, and you can get started for free by checking these videos out with thecashcompound.com/bankwithus, and you can just go right into that crash course. And if you are not just blown away after that, well, actually I know they will be. They'll be hitting you up. They'll be hitting me up after that. So you guys check it out. Get started to being a Rebel Banker, and actually being a Rebel Banker means be the bank. And that is exactly what this is all about. You guys going faster, smarter, and more efficiently. And that's what we're helping you with. So thank you all for joining us. And thank you for flying in for this. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
We'll see you guys later.